going on, everyone? So the Lakers are currently in the market for another big. Anthony Davis is out, so it makes a lot of sense to try to bring in a big on a 10-day contract and see if he could fit. Damian Jones hasn't really worked out for the Lakers. They're running winning Gabriel and sometimes LeBron James at the 5 in spots. Thomas Bryant has been amazing and a real standout and has been very great for us. And hopefully when AD comes back, he still gets the opportunity to continue to shine. But nonetheless, it would be nice to get a solid big. And if they could get a big, well, then now that they can focus on trying to make trades for other bigger pressing needs, in my opinion. So we got the report that the Lakers are working out DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins could be a very solid fit, a big body that'd be great against kind of the Banner type big men in like a Joker or an Embiid. We could really use a big solid body, right? Anthony Davis doesn't really want to play the 5 a bunch, so it'd be nice to kind of allow him to play the 4, give him what he wants, although I do have concerns about that shooting, especially. He was much better before the injury, but still he hasn't been great. However, maybe you can make it work, especially with a guy like DeMarcus Cousins who could stretch the floor. But they are also looking at not just DeMarcus Cousins tomorrow, they will also be working out Meyers Leonard. Now, this is a name that you might not have heard for a while because he hasn't played since the 2020-2021 season. His last game was January 9th. And the reason that he ended up getting basically booted out the league is because of some things that he said during a live stream Twitch. He said some anti-Semitic statements in that, which ended up causing a 1-week suspension, and he hasn't played since. So that was his last appearance, was January 9th. Now, he is a guy that he could be a real solid contributor, right? I mean, he's still young. He's only 30 years old. He's had plenty of time to rest, right? But beyond that, it'd be kind of interesting to see if there is this kind of cloud of controversy if the Lakers were to sign him. A lot of people I've seen mention him in the past, even in my comment sections here. I've seen people be like, oh, what about Meyers Leonard? He's a guy that isn't really huge standout, right? He's averaged 6 points, 4 rebounds a game for his career for the most part. But he is a 40% three-point shooter. He is a guy that has played roughly around 16 minutes a game for his career. Doesn't take a ton of shots, but he could be, again, it's just, you're just looking for a guy to kind of fill in spots, right? A stretch big, somebody that can, knock down the wide open jumper, mid-range, 3-point range, could play next to Thomas Bryant, could play next to Anthony Davis. That would be key, right? LeBron James, winning Gabriel, all of our other sizable players. And so Meyers Leonard could really come in and maybe be that key contribution. The other thing is he is a running big. Like, he can run. One of the big things and one of the reasons why Thomas Bryant has been so effective is because he runs, right? I mean, how many times have we seen LeBron or Russ or somebody on a fast break, they miss the layup, and who's there to clean it up? Thomas Bryant, right? Thomas Bryant's getting the rebound, getting the putback, and putting the Lakers in a position to continue pressing that play. And just his hustle and drive, Meyers Leonard could be a guy that could kind of fall into that same category, be a guy that could come in and kind of give you solid rotation minutes. I mean, we haven't really seen Meyers Leonard play in a long time, so I don't know. I don't really have a gauge on him. You know what I mean? Like, it's like DeMarcus Cousins, we saw him last year, right? He was great in spots. His injury history is a real concern. His mental is a real concern at times, right? Like, that's one of the big reasons he hasn't been in the league, is because teams are afraid of what he's going to do, how he's going to act. I know he's a guy that loves to get technicals, loves to get in trouble, although I do like his toughness. I do like what he could bring to the Lakers team. He has chemistry with Darvin Ham. He has chemistry with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. He was part of the championship team. He even got a ring in it, although he wasn't really a key contributor, right, in that season. Injuries and stuff. He ended up being the odd man out, which is really unfortunate, right? I'd really like to see DeMarcus Cousins succeed. I've always liked DeMarcus Cousins as a player. I think it's just going to come down to who's the better option. I'm sure that they'll get a good look at both of these guys. I'm sure that they'll do extensive, drills and run-throughs and stuff. And, I'm not against Meyers Leonard at all. Like, if this was 2-3 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, that's a solid pickup. That's a solid addition. But, after not being in the league for so long, it kind of makes things tough. And then again, like, is there going to be this just cloud of controversy, or has it been long enough before for them to kind of move past it? Not just that, he's not going to have very likely a huge role, which is fine. Like, you only need a guy to come in and play probably 15 minutes a game, if that, right? But having a big that can stretch the floor, that can knock down the three ball. Again, he's a 40% three-point shooter. The last season that he played, he was 43% from three. And then for a larger sample size, because again, he only played 3 games that season. In 2018 and 2019, he played 61 games and shot 45% from three. The last 4 seasons that he played, he was about a 43% three-point shooter. He had the 45% year, 43% year, 41.4% year, and then 43.3% year. So, I mean, he's a guy that can stretch the floor, that could be a nice solid mismatch, a hustle guy, a guy that can, bring some energy. Again, run, right? That is key. That is huge for the Lakers. He's also a guy that can be a willing passer, right? I mean, he's made some nice plays. You could go look up his highlight reels. He's made some nice passes, he was a part of that Heat contending team, the one that went to the championship, played the Lakers. So he has a little familiarity, right, with the Lakers. And he was a solid contributor with Miami. Like, Miami liked him. He just ended up making a boneheaded decision, and it ended up costing him a couple seasons of his career. And so now it's kind of interesting to see how he's going to perform. Hopefully he's been continuing to work on his game. Hopefully he still has that shot, because that would be huge, right? If you could add a 40% big man, because he's a true 7-footer. So, he's 7 feet. If you can add a real 7-footer to your arsenal of three-point shooting, that would be great. And then he's going to be cheap. Even if you sign him long-term, you're probably not signing him to a major deal. You're probably giving him, because I'm sure there's not many teams that are going to give him a shot. So if you bring him in and he does work out, he's not going to be a $10 million a year guy, right? He's going to be, you're probably giving him a vet minimum, maybe, $2-3 million a year for several years. Maybe you do 4 years, $9 million or something with like a player option or something, something weird like that, to where he could be a piece that could be around for a while, for the long haul. I think it's a low risk, high reward type play, right? He's a guy that's not going to get a ton of attention. He's a guy that's going to come in, maybe, but he's a guy that's going to come in. He's a guy that hopefully is hungry, wants to get back in the league, wants to be a key contributor. We need guys like that, right? We need guys that can be hustle, that can be an athletic 7-footer, right? Be a lob threat, be a guy that you can dump the ball down to and he can kind of just go to work. Be a guy that you can, pick and pop, right? If you can move your bigs out of the center, that just opens the floor so much more for LeBron and Russell Westbrook, especially if you have a guy like him who can shoot 42%. Now the bigs have to respect that, right? Like Wynn and Gabriel, they don't really have to respect it. I mean, he's knocked down a couple shots, but he doesn't take a bunch of threes, and he's not the greatest three-point shooter ever. Even his shot is a little awkward. So if you get a guy like Meyers Leonard that can come in and actually hit the three-point shot to where teams have to respect it, then that just opens up so much more. And then again, hopefully the Lakers can shift their focus to, okay, we need to do a trade for a wing or two or several. Let's go get some other shooters. Let's really start opening the floor for Russ and LeBron. Then I just think you're off to the races. If you can, anything to add floor spacing for Russ and LeBron is going to be huge, right? Because most of LeBron and Russ's points right now are coming at the rim, and they're having to fight over mountains in order to do it, right? So if you could just open the court more and get some shooting, then LeBron is going to have an easier time getting to the rim, and so will Russ. And imagine if you could up Russ's production offensively, right? Because right now, teams are just kind of packing the paint, and he's having to kind of fight over everybody to try to just get to the basket. Well, if you could get open lanes to where now he can drive and kind of just penetrate, get to the hoop, and have a big that can roll. Well, we've already seen what Russell Westbrook can do with, Anthony Davis, winning Gabriel, Thomas Bryant. Like, he could do a lot of the same things with Meyers Leonard and even be a lob threat, all kinds of stuff. And it just, again, it gets him easier driving lanes to get to the hoop. So it just opens up so much more. So I'm not against this signing. Again, it's kind of tough to gauge just because we don't have any real sample sizes, right? We haven't seen him in several seasons. So it's not like we can go like, oh yeah, well, last year he was great, or 2 years ago he was great. But at least he's not a guy that's had injury history, right? And he's a guy that's never has been a locker room problem or anything like that, as far as I'm aware. Where even Hassan Whiteside, like I still prefer Hassan Whiteside. I think Hassan Whiteside would be the best pickup. I think he's still the best option, but he's not the floor spacer that him and Cousins are. So clearly the Lakers are looking for floor spacing bigs, and that this is a low risk, high reward type play. I think you give him a shot. It's going to come down to which one performs better, Meyers Leonard or DeMarcus Cousins. And I could see them giving the nod to Meyers Leonard just because he doesn't have the injury history. He hasn't been a locker room guy. He doesn't have a lot of the issues that like Hassan Whiteside and DeMarcus Cousins have. So he might be a safer bet if you really think about it. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question to you. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think about Meyers Leonard? Is he somebody that you want, somebody that you don't? Would you prefer DeMarcus Cousins? Would you prefer Hassan Whiteside? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, let me know down in the comment section.